You're recording right now? Oh, okay. Well, what we've done is we've troubleshot this system, and in order to find out if your problem when your pump is frozen up and it's not moving at all, to find out if your problem is the pump, power head, or the lower fluid section locking it up, you got to separate it right here. And we separated it right here, and it was already, fortunately, at the bottom stroke, so that it would go all the way down and hit the trip switch and go all the way up. And this pump power head will run up and down freely. So then we knew that it was the lower fluid section that was set up, and as it is the upper packing that's got it froze up. Nothing wrong with the power head. We took the piston, took the assembly apart, and probably I'll show you a lot more on assembly. Just taking it apart is not really that complicated, other than this shaft absolutely must not be nicked. I've got it laying on metal, but it's pretty gingerly laying on plastic and metal there. You don't want to stick it down in there with another part like this, nick it, or you got real problems. Now we had to take it apart with a torch. We had to literally heat it up, because this set up material like this gets real cheesy as soon as you heat it. And as soon as you get it to that point, it just comes apart real easily. So that's where we're at now. We're going to go ahead and get this loose and clean it up and get it ready for reassembly. And I'll probably wait until somebody else can be here.
Maybe. I'm trying.
Okay. So, other end too. Of course, anytime you heat them, you're going to fry your seal. Your piston cup, you know, they're gone anytime you heat them. So just be ready to replace those whenever you do. And make sure you don't heat them around the acetone, or throw them in the acetone while they're hot. I've seen people do that. That is not very smart. And you would not believe where they're doing this. It's a no, I probably should say billion-dollar corporation. It's huge. But unfortunately, the people in management don't always know what some of the maintenance people are doing. They're the least watched, and man, you talk about somebody that can really mess you up in a hurry. They can do it. Somebody doing something stupid like that right in the middle of this huge plant. He would take parts that he just got through torching, and they're literally smoking, throw them in the acetone. Oh, it's not direct flame.
That's why the Boltons say.
Yeah. I've seen people get away with it.
Throw them in there.
Yeah, I've seen them get away with it for years. Now this is still warm to the touch, but I can stick that in there now. If I can pull it in my hand and squeeze it and all that, why I'm in pretty good shape. I don't want to stick anything in there. Okay. too bad. You can clean it up and still use it. But for the most part, just protect that shaft. Don't let the system sit out in the rain. If you do, it sits out, even if you're on the job site, you know it's going to rain, you got to put a little shrink wrap or something over it so that rain don't get in this cup. If the water's heavier than the oil, it's going to push the oil out, and the water's right down here around your shaft, and you're going to lose your polish.
How would you clean this thing up so it wouldn't happen again? If you just put the hose and acetone and run it through the gun, or how would you clean it?
Oh, you mean if you're going to let it sit for a while? Yeah, I would stick the suction hose down in some acetone. Put about 2 gallons of acetone in a bucket, and then I would take rather than to run it through the gun, because you have a tendency to maybe get a drop or 2 drops of catalyst.
Right.
Is all you need
Right.
in your system, and then you're going to start setting up your hose, things like that. Not right now, but after you put it back in service, then you let it sit overnight or something while you go, golly, why are these little chunks and flakes in here?
Mm-hmm.
So pull the resin hose off right here, and then just recirculate it into the pail.
Yeah.
Clean it up. Anytime you're going to pull this lower fluid section off, if it's not locked up, run clean acetone through it so that when you pull it apart, why it's just a lot easier to clean up. And I think what we'll do now is go ahead and pull this gun off and kind of get everything down into components. And we'll clean up the table where we can start getting some of this stuff put back together. That is bonded in with Loctite. And if you just start undoing this, and it's set up a little bit, why, and this is stuck, rather than this unscrewing out of here, it can twist that loose, and you're going to have to re-Loctite it. That's not fun. Not all that hard, but and it has to be done super clean, stuck back together, and then you got to let it sit about 24 hours before you use it. So. But the only two that are like that, over here on this side, over here on this side. The rest of it's not that big a deal. See if we can get that seal off of there. Trying to keep this blade even up off of that surface. If I touch it, I just barely touch it. We're winning. There we go. There we go.
So if you take care of this, did this ever have to be done?
No, literally, this machine has to be put away incorrectly for it to set up like this.
Like it was.
Yeah. Now down in the piston cup and stuff, if you get some bad resin, it can, a lot of gel particles and stuff, it can pack out and freeze it up in here, but it doesn't normally freeze it up in here, and it won't be gelled up here. This tells me a couple things. You got gelation up above the seal, which tells me that this seal was leaking a little bit. So I don't know if the solvent was kept in the solvent cup or not, but we should always keep a little bit of that throat seal in that solvent cup, because it's got a somewhat of an inhibitor to it, and it'll also help it keep from gelling like this. Let's see if I can get this jelly off now. All we got to do is move it. if we can move it just a little bit, we're, did it go?
Yeah, quite a ways.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. And we'll get some more of this crap off here. Well, figure it out. Have any solvent in here or something and was in the up position, or it was in the up position and somebody was chopping it. It got sprayed. Yeah, it should actually, this should be covered up. I don't know if you guys had it covered up or not, but it
We
really should
did.
be
We did
covered
at
up.
first because we had a shower curtain thing on there.
Yeah.
I don't know when it got taken off.
Yeah, we didn't have it out there with me.
To rebuild the catless pump, first thing we want to do is neutralize it, and what we did is we stuck it down in a bucket of water and then pumped it a little bit, and it would be wise to put kind of a rag over here or something when you pump it so that you absolutely don't get the catalyst in your eyes. I mean, that's critical. But flush it out with a little bit of water. You never clean the inside of one of these out with acetone, because acetone and catalyst creates a bad molecule that under pressure becomes shock sensitive, and shock sensitive means boom. So it's not good. Now you can clean the outside with acetone. That's not a problem. This pump looks pretty clean, and we've already flushed it out inside. So to rebuild it, it's pretty simple. Got a nylon nut on the top. It if your packing is leaking, don't try to tighten it more, because this nylon nut is not much more than finger tight. It won't do any good. What seals the pump is the seal in here, not how tight you have this down on here. So undo your nut, pull it apart, and there you are. Now the bottom, this pump was loose, and it was still pumping, but this was literally working up and down like this, so you were not getting near the catalyst that you should have got because you were losing part of your stroke. And it wasn't even leaking here. I'm really amazed there. Seal here. Ball. Yeah, and a ball, and that's the pin that holds the ball in. Since this pin was in acetone, I'm going to really dry it off. I don't want any residue on there. And before I stick it back in there, I'll probably wash it off in water. Now, undo our jam nut at the top. There's no particular adjustment here, right here. I've had people ask me, well, how far down do I go before I do the jam nut? Just screw it down until this is close to these flats here. You don't want to obviously cover up those flats or anything, but just anywhere close there so you can get a wrench on it, and then lock it. This pump pretty good shape. This has to come off. And try not to booger this up right in here, or when this is your seal, or when you stick your seal over there, why it's going to, if you got any little sharp wheel like this, sometimes it'll cut the inside of your seal, and you'll have a pump that's just been rebuilt, and you'll go wonder why this thing is leaking. This, you can see the little springs in there. We'll go ahead and change all that stuff out. Shouldn't be too tight. When it goes back together, like you don't want to get too heavy with your wrenches. Normally, if you were measuring the torque, you would be measuring the torque in inch pounds, not foot pounds. And this probably only had about, oh golly, I'm going to say 20 inch-pounds of torque, not foot pounds, 20 inch-pounds. And it's got a sleeve in here, and this little sleeve takes the side load off of this cup. Now, originally when these pumps were built, why you just had a cup here or an O-ring, and the cup took all the side torque, and of course then the steel part of the piston would get into the cylinder a little bit. Sometimes you get some stuff into the cylinder, so we put this sleeve in here. And if you notice, the cup always goes up. That's the pressure side. And if you put them down, wrong deal do. The cup always goes up. Oh, okay. Make sure our shaft's clean, doesn't have any problems with it. You can get a little droplet of catalyzed resin on this too, and it can really mess you up. Okay, we know our cylinder's clean. Now our seal kit. We've got a parts key. You're probably familiar with it, or are you? Have you putting kits in together? Okay. Now this is good. Here we go. We have a parts key with our seal kit, and you say, well, what goes where? So you just start grabbing pieces and you go, okay, this one is pretty obviously that one. This one is obviously this one. This one is that one. This one is this one. This one is this one. Now, when we go to our breakdown, we'll go HPC 2000. Pump, and you'll, of course, you can look at it pretty well tell, but in our gun kits, in any of our kits, why we've got a parts key like this, so this will be the same in all of those. Say, for instance, number 18, which is right here, we go, okay, number 18 is OS013. You come over here and you go, okay, that's OS013, that's this one. So we'll pick this one off. These O-rings right here on this seal really see almost no wear. You hardly ever have to replace them. I'll go ahead and replace them though. Since we got the pump down. OS013 right back on there. Alright, now we want to we want to say, okay, find the piston. You do the same thing. Of course, you can tell right here what the piston is. So again, piston cup goes up. Old spacer goes right on the bottom. They call it a spacer, but it's, like I say, again, it's actually a bearing surface to keep this stainless steel piston out of the stainless steel cylinder here. Okay. Again, when we go to tighten it up, it's, I mean, not very tight at all. You see what I'm doing there? It's all it sees is just up and down motion. It's highly unlikely that it'll come apart. I probably gave it, I don't know, 10 to 20 inch-pounds for torque. That's about it. That would be about 1.5 pounds, foot-pound of torque. Not very much. Okay. Now, this is critical. If you're ever like having a problem getting this unscrewed out here, like it's tight, too tight, never should be, because obviously it doesn't even have to be tight, and it still works, as you saw. But sometimes somebody will tighten one up real tight, or you get resin all over it, stuff like that, and it's locked up. Never, never, never grab it up here and put a wrench on something down here and undo it. If you're going to undo something on this end, then actually the only thing you can grab this with is probably some vice grips. Yeah, you will make some little marks in it, but making marks in this is a lot better than breaking it loose here or here. This is aluminum, this is aluminum, this is stainless steel. It has real fine threads in here, and it's Loctited. And when it's put together until it's just, you just feel it stop. You don't even go like that, but you've Loctited both surfaces and you've screwed it in until it stops. Both of these, and then you just let them set. So if you ever have to re-Loctite them, you'll want to buff everything out of the threads, get them absolutely clean, both surfaces. Change your acetone, get more clean acetone, then Loctite them, and again, don't tighten it up, because what happens is it will wedge this cylinder down. I've done it. And then when you go to put your piston in there, why, you'll destroy your piston trying to get it in there. So just screw it in until you feel it stop, and you should have no trouble doing it if you clean those threads, like you should have. And then that's the way you re-Loctite it. Some people go through the lifetime of this piece of equipment and never have to re-Loctite something, but sometimes you do. But that's only when you abuse it. Now, we want to assemble this. I'll put a little bit of this SSL 10 lubricant. It doesn't swell up O-rings. Now, you use Catalyst if you want. Catalyst is a good lubricant, but I just don't like it all over my fingers and stuff. I like to put a little lubricant on the threads. When you're dealing with aluminum, you can gall the surfaces pretty easy and have a problem. So I always lubricate it. Now, I'm going to go wash this off with you. Can turn it off if you want. Ball and a seat in here. You want to make sure there's no trash in here and your seat is good. Doesn't pump very well without that ball either. So stick that in there. We've already lubricated it. Now I won't tighten this bottom nut up until I stick it on the unit, because we'll turn this around to where we have this exactly where we want it. So it right now is loose. Now we want to put a little lube on our shaft. This is going to make a few dry strokes, so I like to lube it up a little bit so that it doesn't start rolling that O-ring up, you know, on the startup. Okay, now we'll change this one. Oh, there's only one O-ring left, and this is the only one we haven't replaced. I don't usually recommend keeping O-rings once you've had them on there, but I tell you what, these look in excellent shape. You may want to throw those back in the package. This is contrary to what I normally say to do, but the system's pretty new, and these O-rings really haven't seen hardly any wear at all. This seal is still good.
Cost that much, does it?
Well, this one right here is going to cost you several bucks. Of course, I forget what the kit cost. They used to be about $10, but I think when they went to this fat seal, they went up a little bit, and this seal right here, this piston seal, spring-loaded, cost a lot more than an O-ring. Used to be just an O-ring in the bottom. Okay, lube this and your threads. Now this cup is up, so it goes in usually pretty easy, but you want to rough it up. And then I screwed it till it stopped, and then just a tiny, if you want to feel what I've got there, that's all the tension I've got. Now undo it. That'll, see that? Yeah, that's just a few inches of torque. The only thing left is this. And this could go on 10 turns or all the way down. Wouldn't really matter. This pump is done. Okay. Of course, we've already taken it off of the system. We've already pulled the poppet out of it. I don't like to submerge the gun down in there with the little poppet, because it's got this black seal in here that acetone kind of messes up, and it swells up the other ones.
And where's that go?
This is the poppet, goes in the back. It's what runs the roving cutter.
Okay.
This poppet valve, if you ever pull the trigger and you let up and your roving cutter keeps running, it's this little poppet valve right here. Probably this O-ring is not lubricated. Matter of fact, this one's pretty dry. This shows me that it's been pretty dry. Look at all that black on there. Yeah, that, and I saw a little piece of silicone.
Yeah, when it was where we put air to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it would run.
Okay, so it this one had actually kept running or something
Yeah.
when you let up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because this needed lubricated. Now to lubricate it, all you got to do is unscrew this fitting right here out of the back, and then
How did this come out of
you
there?
reach in through
Push it out.
the front, just push it
Okay.
out with that.
'Cause I had that off and I kept screwing, it wouldn't come out. So.
Yeah. This is pretty good temporary, but that gun and trigger lube, I don't know if you guys ever got any of it or not. That's lasts a lot longer. It stays a lot better than this. It's real sticky, high viscosity, and has a lot of lubricity to it. But it's Venus gun and trigger lube, and it is really good stuff. Or super lube. Super lube's about $30 a tube though, and this other stuff just about as good. So we'll pull this thing down. You ever use this tool?
Yep.
So you pull the nose of it off before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Pretty simple.
had that clogged up once and Robbie cleaned it out.
Yeah. Always keep the trigger pulled because it's just that much easier. And again, this is something that I always like to lubricate. People have a tendency to lubricate the O-rings and they don't lubricate this little nut right here. And if you don't, you're talking about hard stainless steel and you're talking about soft aluminum here. So if you don't lubricate that thing every time, well, a few times, and then one of these times, you're gonna have a problem. Okay, we'll go through the gun head first. Pick these off of here. This got a little bit of setup material in it. It tells me that might have had a little bit of leaking or something around this gun head, because when you don't get this absolutely clean, you won't get a good seal here, and sometimes catalyst or resin will leak out around here and it'll drip around your ring. It's critical not to chew this up right here, because that's where your O-ring seats with your tip, your spray tip. And these right here need to be kept clean. Boy, we can throw all that stuff in there now. None of that's any good. Yeah, it's critical that this is clean around here, or you're not going to get a good seal here either. These surfaces right here, if you just have a little film like this, it's enough to hold that catalyst tip up off of here, and it's not going to let the resin tip seat, and it will leak around here. probably, no, it's not. Okay. Some of them have 2 balls. Yeah, that's a different model. Ball on the seat. Too hard. No, I don't want to collapse this. Okay, let's see. Nothing really hard in there, just a little bit of kind of soft, stringy stuff. We'll have to clean it out. At least we don't have to drill it out. Huh? You want it started in your threads, then you're having to tighten it up tighter, just to overcome that buildup. You can't really tell why it's not seating. Sometimes it's not seating just simply because you got so much trash in your threads that you can't screw the ring down on there all the way. Possible. You don't want to chip it up and everything. Just enough to bite into that resin. That little bit of material you see around there is enough to keep that catless tip from going down all the way and letting your resin tip seat. Stuff right here. Do you guys have a little squirt bottle, a little acetone squirt bottle around here?
Small enough for you?
Yeah, you ought to use that every time when you pull that out.
Yeah, Robert did that quite often. Every time he used it, he'd do that. But I think most of that is when I took it apart. Took the cover top part of it off of it, and it was drip. Yeah, drip down there, and
you know why it dripped?
Why? Coming out that black hole.
Well, the reason it dripped was pressure probably wasn't dumped off of that. Yeah.
Off that bottom valve.
Yep. Anytime you shut that thing down, for the end of the day, you need to dump the pressure off of
Release
that.
that pressure.
Otherwise, that pressure is going to overcome the seal. Maybe you got a little catalyst pressure on there too, and you get a little catalyst dribble on here. You get a little bit of this, and you got this right here. And it is so easy to avoid just by dumping that pressure every evening. I'm gonna let that try to soften up a little bit more in there, and I'll get with this handle. We don't have so much stuff out here. Maybe you'll tell what's going on. Okay. Shouldn't be too tight. Got a little bit of material set up on the side of that, and that's enough to give you a problem with your seal. And then you pull the trigger, it's a little stiff, and you break it loose. That's when it chews up these O-rings like this. Two biggest problems that I see over and over and over are people don't lubricate these surfaces. They're sliding together enough, and they don't lubricate these enough when they assemble them too. And I'm talking about even the fittings, where the fittings go on, you know. If you lubricate them well going on, rather than just put a sticky fitting back on, generally it's going to come apart a whole lot easier. And then if you keep this stuff lubed, clean first, and then lube it, you're going to have a lot better seal life. A lot better seal life. Okay.
In order to lube them, you have to take these things. I mean, you just wait till you have something sticking before you take it apart to lube it, or do you?
Oh, I don't take it apart
Or can you
necessarily
lube
to lube
everything?
it. Once it's together, you can just work the trigger and lube it around there. Like, you'll clean everything off with acetone, and then just work it and lube it, work it and lube it, make sure it's okay, and then let it set the rest of the day, rather than just dump it in there and put a little acetone on it and then let it dry off. Well, you washed all of it. You know, you wake up with. If you just, you wonder, how do you get to this nut? Well, all you gotta do is pull it up where you can get to it over here. Otherwise, it's way down here. And that's an aircraft nut on there, nylon insert. That is not going back out. This one. Yeah, we're going to tighten this up. Now I got to get a hold of this because I don't want to grab it here and tighten down here because I could break that loose. I've had strap wrenches, and I've never found a strap wrench that I really liked the way it worked. A lot of them just don't work well. But you can pretty well put this in any position you want, and then go ahead and lock that. Been popped off a few times because Catless has got nothing to here. Otherwise that spring wouldn't be like that. Let's see, I better put a wrench on that. I want to pull this off. There's parts that I like to do pick. They don't always put a long-lasting lubricant on it when they build these things up, and I've seen them, once the pop-off opens up, I've seen them stick open just a little bit, not a whole lot, but just enough to where your percentage of callus is off. You've got it maybe set at 1.5, and for some reason you're not getting 1.5. Little shaft sticks in there, and you pull this out. That means that when it pops off, why it probably doesn't close all the way because it's hanging up in that O-ring. You don't want it to do that. Oh, I know why this one was popped off, because that's what we use to Yeah, on this one, we use this to dump the pressure. Yeah, the ones with that go through the manifold, the only time this pops off is if it's over pressure. Okay, we're ready for this. Seems like we're using a lot of lubricant, but you don't rebuild these things every day. So.
Yeah.
You got your threads, no threads here, threads over on this side, goes on just like this. And that's it. It can be loose and it won't leak. Those other ones do. Matter of fact, this can be gone and this still won't leak unless this is pulled off. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to turn this just a little bit, because this is, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, I'll see if it interferes with it, I'll turn this out just a little bit. And the way I do that is just jam it down here. That, you have to pull this poly bar out before that'll come off, so that's why I did that. Stops in the front have to be pretty straight because there's a couple of poly bars that slide in there. Push that poly bar in, slide it over your bearing surface. These don't have to be real tight. You just tighten them until those split washer bottom more or less, and that's it. Because it fits so tight inside that groove, it's just not going to go anywhere. Now I'll tighten the big poly bar up, tightens these tabs. If you tighten it up first and these tabs try to go sideways on you, why, sometimes you won't get this poly bar in here, the little ones, right in here, these surfaces, which is regular grease. Over here. It's really more than what I needed. And personality agrees over there once in a while, although they'll get, some of this will slop off and it gets on there, it kind of foils it a little bit. Well, listen to her more than what I do. She tells me all these things for my own good. You get tired of hearing it, but okay, we're gonna go around this way. This needs to be pretty tight. If you suck any air at all, this pump can cavitate. Now, did you have the hose going around this side, or did you have it going around back that way? Back this way?
Yep.
Okay.
That's probably, right there.
And then whatever you do, don't put a ding or bump that surface right there. That's the most critical surface you have in that fitting. Yeah. That's just about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need a hose for that. And you know what? I may have ordered a big hose. If I get a little too far one way or the other, it'll hawk out. Let me a little lube, not only on threads, but get that to where that will run down in there behind that. And some of it should actually run out on the shoulder. There it goes. Yeah. It's going to go on better, it's going to come off better. That is a basket filter, same size as easy flip system. Okay. This ain't ready to run. Except for the run. And the hose. Up the material. The rust will start making it gel cross length. But this looks alright. Cut that off.
Exactly wrong.
No, you're, yeah, see your back of thread, that's good,
Yeah.
that's good. I'd say you're certifiable.
Cool.
Now I need a big crescent, and
It's right up here.
oh, here it is.
Big enough?
That'll work.
thing fills up with resin?
Sure does. It'll, that's what keeps the fan pattern from going like that. It, just like a shock, and it fills up. You got a cushion of air in here, and it keeps the pressure as constant as it can going out to the end of the gun. Otherwise, it would completely quit. In other words, that would just go down to almost nothing while this change strokes. So this keeps the pressure more steady. Okay, we're going to see if anything blows out of here. Oh, good. No, no. I think I'll go through that way. I'll fix this better. Yeah. Start this up. You got resin mixed up and everything?
Yeah.
You have a mixer?
Yeah.
When did you mix this resin up?
Yeah. Day for you.
You don't have resin mixed up?
Mix it some more.
Every day. Hot weather, I'd mix it at noon. It'll settle out on you.
Yeah.
90% of your problem with resin is the capsule settles in resin. And resin's made up of things that are different specific gravity. Styrene is lighter than the actual polyester resin. And then the Cabosil, which is supposed to hold everything in suspension, and does, is actually 2.5 times heavier than the resin. But because it's so light and its configuration has got like little fingers sticking out, it actually keeps things from sliding. So it's a fixatrol. But the Cabosil in time will settle out because it weighs 2.5 times more than the resin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but short term, it holds everything in suspension. Long term, it will settle out. Now, since it's all it is fumed sand, fumed silicon, since it is got little fingers, it's thirsty. So when it settles out, it's going to take things with it, like your cobalt, your inhibitors, not all of it, but it'll take some of them, and then your whole drum of resin is out of balance. When you stick this wand in the bottom of that drum and you suck out the bottom part of that and it has not been mixed, the rest of that drum will forever be not as good as it should be, because you've taken a whole bunch of inhibitors, a whole bunch of promoters, you've taken the Cabosil, the fixatrope out of it. So the first part of it will work probably pretty good. It'll probably cling to the walls and everything. Might be a little hard to roll because it's too thick. The last part of it will drain out. You'll have spotty trims, everything else, because your promoter system and inhibitor system is all messed up. So twice a day in the summertime, you can get by with once a day in the wintertime. Mix it every day, every day.
Every day that you're going to use it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you got to come in on Sunday.
Before or after church?
That's right. Yeah, if you want to mix up that drum, well, then we'll go ahead and fire this thing up.
Yeah.
coated mandrel. They used to be all aluminum, but they Teflon coated them because the newer glasses, when I say new glass, I'm talking about the glass that they've been making for the last few years. It's got a binder on it. The binder is softer, especially in hot weather. But that binder will transfer off, build up on this cutter mantle. So we made a Teflon cutter mantle to help keep that stuff off of there still with the glasses they got now. And the reason they're using the historic binder that they're using is been mandated to them by the environmental boys. There was something in there that they had a part of a parts per million. In other words, there's a bad chemical. There was so many parts per million in something that goes into the glass that's only going to be 1 or 2% of glass. So it's almost parts per billion. It was ridiculous that they made them change it because they used to have a binder that was absolutely great. No reason to change it. But they said, oh, it's a water-soluble binder. All that water goes back off into the river. That's a bad deal. It's almost like being on a rock. They had a rock forever. Not polluted, you know, 100 years later. Really gets to me sometimes. Well, this is nasty. I'm going to have to pull the blades out and rub this real good. Otherwise, I'm going to cut my fingers off of it. Rubbing on it. Grooves down here. Now you just get around here, stick your tool down in that groove, and you'll pull that blade right out of it. You can get bloody fingers pretty easy doing this.
I've seen Ronnie do it. Bloody fingers.
Well, I'm a little slow at it. I used to be faster at it, but I don't like cutting myself, so I do a couple things that may take a little longer, but once you get a bloody finger, why, the rest of your workday is going to be a little slower. So I'll clean this all up and then we'll starts getting bad, but the bearing is still good. What you can do is clean it all. Then you can put it in your acetone, clean it all up, make sure it's not sticky acetone. Then get you a little can that's just a little bit taller than this, and put some oil in it, your high-speed bearing oil, like air tool oil in it, and you can let it soak overnight, and that oil will seep up in here and dry it off real good and stick it. You can get a lot of bearing life out of it. Those bearings are, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks probably. Ranger Boats does that to all their guns every night.
Every night?
Every night. They pull this cutter mandrel off, pull all the blades out of it, clean it up, and it soaks in that oil after it's cleaned up. Even when the bearing's good, at some point, you're not going to know, nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, seal's out on that bearing. So, yeah, when it gets bad, they don't know it, but they get incredible bearing life. And they can't afford to be in the middle of chopping a hull or a deck and something go wrong with the price of one of their units, and they got all these they'll have 7 or 8 rollers standing there. If your gun goes down, that's costing you a lot of money per hour. Anyway, that's what they do. Works for them. Now, you know that little block over here? Right? When you put this in here, you go, okay, how does that blade go in? So you say, which side does it go on? You'll put it on this side, and the blade sticks up like so. You put it on this side, and the blade sticks way up. So obviously, it goes on this side over here. So that's how you start out. See, it's sticking out on this end, it's going in on this end, and we want the blade on this side. See where the spring is here? Well, we want the spring on the same side here. So if we start that blade in, like so, it's easier to start it in right there. Then, I just take that block, and we try to keep it all lined up. And push it right on down in there. Now it's not in all the way by any means. It's not in that direction all the way, but this block of wood's not going to hurt that blade, so I can push it down a little bit. And then I can come over here to the edge of this and I can push it a little farther. There we go. And when I know I got that far enough down in there, I got to go just a tiny little bit more to get that even. Now I should be able to push that. I always do it across the grain, right down in there. We're almost in. Let's see here. Now it doesn't want to go in here. You can see where that spring is out just a little bit right there. Well, I still didn't get it. I've got it just a little too far. Okay, that blade's down in there. Spring block's up just a little bit. So you don't want to stick that on the blade, but you can put that on the spring block and push down a little bit. And you can see it go on down. Now if you notice, that spring block sticks up just a little bit. It sticks up here all the way around on the corner. The reason it does is these blades are on a twist like that. If they were straight across, it would be, you should remember, yeah, every time you start, you're going that way. You're going up there. Yeah, every time you start up a pump that's dry, you need this relief valve over, or you need to open up the trigger on the gun, but you need to let the air pressure out of it, because 4 pounds back pressure, it's barely enough for you to feel with your thumb, is enough to keep this pump from picking up. And it'll sit there and cycle while it's dry until you burn the packings up in it, and the piston cup. So always open your dump valve, make sure that's clear so it'll go ahead and pick up a lot quicker. Now, if you want to plug that into that end, I'll plug this in here and we'll fire this thing up. I've got to hook up the this one right. It's already started. I can feel this hose get heavier. Well, that picked up and hurt. There it is, there it is. Yeah. That thing was running on about 5-pound pressure. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh! Stick it in here.
That's not good.
No, you don't want. Right, you got it the other way. Then when you install it, you're going to want that, like so. So the bundle is going to look like this, right here, so it'll get started. Now you already got one sharp one in there, so now's when you got to be a little more careful. Everything you do. Should just push right down. Yep. Then again, you don't ever want to put the screwdriver on the blade, but you put it on the bar, on the spring bar. Make sure that's pushed down in there. Okay. I'll put one more in, and I'm gonna let you put the last one.
No.
You got to do it sooner or later. Sooner or later. Okay.
Let me put the one there, and I already got 3 in there, and cut my finger off.
Well, do you want to put this one on? I'll put the last one in. All right, we're gonna do it with the bar on the right side this time. So if it's on the right side, we turn this like this. That's what we're looking for. In other words, whether you're right-handed, left-handed, no matter which side you go in on, same deal. You just move that spring clip to where you're not starting with this edge first, starting with this one. Now see, I've got the mandrel turned exactly the opposite that I had the last one. Over here, we've got just a little ways, just a little bit farther to go. And that ought to go right down in place. Okay. One to go. Now remember, you got sharp blades on both sides here.
Yeah.
this thing. It's for the cause. It's for the cause. I'm gonna get some water. I hate Fiberglass. Especially my own.
Is that right so far?
Yeah, you've got it. Let's see, which side, where's the blade? No.
You got the
blade
spring
has
and the
got to
blade
go
on
up
the same
against,
side.
blade's got to go up against the bar and up against the,
So I need to
well, how does this go?
see which way the moon is going first.
Well, just,
Maybe
just
match
look
it
at
up with the
rest
other
of
ones.
them. Match it up with the rest of them, because the other ones are right. So the blade's going to go on this side or this side? This side's going to go on. Which side's the other blade on?
The blade's gonna go. No, that's too high.
Now look at your other blades and see where they're at. See, this blade right here is on this side. The string's on here. The bar's in the middle. So you want the blade on this side right here. So now, how do you put those together? So it'll slide in there.
Like that.
But if you're coming from this side, that's exactly right. Now remember, you got sharp blades over here. You're gonna learn a hard lesson here if you don't.
That?
No. No, I was talking about your fingers.
That was an easy lesson.
No, you're not watching those fingers real close. We've got a cutter mandrel, rubber cutter, and cutter
Rate
mandrel.
this rated R, if you care. So.
Then all you do is loosen up the Allen screw, and the blade loosens up. It just falls out. Stick another blade in, tighten it up. But that's more expensive cutter.
Will it is it just this? It'll interchange on any system, or
No.
it goes with the
No,
currency?
it's totally different. Never. Oh, wait a minute.
Blade's on this side.
Right, it needs to go this way. So stick that down there, and you kind of push it that way. But watch this finger over here. That finger over there was right up against the blade. Now you got it lined up. Never forget where those blades are at. Every time you touch that thing.
That's not too far right there.
Well, let's look. No?
Not enough?
No, that... Well, you might push it just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Not much. There you go. That should go right down in there. Whoa, something.
It's wrong.
Oh, the blades? Yeah, the blade's sticking out. Now that ought to go. Yeah, we're part of the way down in there. Now this thing's sticking up just a little bit. Everything's got to line up. Looks like we're... Well, I know why. It's on the wrong side. How in the world did that get on the wrong side like that? Yeah. I'm not going to do this one. turn it, come in from the other, in other words, just turn this over and hold that blade just like you had it, go right back down in there. And that will be the same thing as,
Oh, sure, that's right like this.
yeah, blade's got to be up.
Wait.
You got sharp side.
Okay. Blade?
You want the blade like so. You want it over on this side, and all I got to do is turn the spring around. And you want the spring like so. Or this blade, block, spring, right? If you're going to go in from this side, right like that. Better now than when nobody's around. And don't forget where those blades are at when you're holding that thing.
You're scaring Bernie.
That one went in pretty easy. There. Now is it lined up on both sides? Push across the grain when you do. People put them in every day. Man, they yank those things out there and throw them in less time it takes me to do one. But they're not shaky and everything like me either.
Probably not all the way down, is it?
Blade looks all the way down in there. The only thing that's not down in there is your
Bar in the middle?
spring bar. Yeah. And that's not extremely critical. Yeah, there we go. Now, you got new blades in. That blade is really sharp. Now, if you dull this blade slightly, it will actually last longer because these blades are so sharp that they don't cut glass, they actually break the glass. And sometimes these blades start chipping away that real fine edge, so I dull them just slightly. And I get a piece of cardboard like so. You know, and you don't want to go with the ripple, you want to go across the ripple, but I hold that blade straight up, perpendicular to it. Go to the next one. Now, I'm not trying to make it sharper, I'm trying to go right across the face of that blade and make it just a little bit dull.
So Ronnie cut his finger on that thing bled for a long time.
You got an end that looks like this. You got an end that looks like this. This goes on one end. And you stick it in the other end. It's almost flat enough where it would probably lock up. In other words, if you'd, let's see, I'll put it on this wood. You try to spin that, it's so close, it's almost right up against there. So there's a right way and a wrong way to put this thing on. And you can tell by looking at this. It'll show you a section in your troubleshooting or your roving curve. It'll have a picture of it. No, it's not in here, it's in the troubleshooting.